need to have a nice showing of people there and support.
Right, and there's a large group out there right now. It's called VA is Lying. That's a group that was created by Ron Nelson. I think that's his last name, Nelson. But what we need to do is kind of reach out to groups like that, in which I have been trying to reach out to that group, that we all as veterans need to, remain together and stick together, and we need to request the same changes. We need to become activists at the same time, and we need to protest at the same time, and not just in one state. We need to protest nationally all together in every state until these issues have been resolved. And that's what my dedicated process is here today, is make sure that we do this, and not only do this, that we create organizations within each state that veterans can go to. I know we have all these other organizations inside the VA system, but we need those organizations where veterans are working with veterans. And I just do not understand why Bob McDonald has not figured that out yet, that you have to have veterans at the level of veterans so they can work with each other, so they can understand each other. Those are the individuals who have more information than anyone who has went to Harvard or whatever and have never, set foot in boots, never set foot in a uniform. And just because they have that knowledge and understanding about how to run a top corporation, that means they don't understand how to respond to lower level veterans.
Right.
And that's what you need. And we can resolve that issue if these individuals would just sit down with me one day and go over my plan of that can be implemented and I guarantee you it would cut, it would decrease the process at the VA system. And I'm talking about it would decrease waiting time. It would decrease complaints.
Mm-hmm.
It would decrease, and I guarantee you it would also decrease, the process of all veterans committing suicide, 22, veterans per day. And
that's another issue. That's another issue that doesn't get nearly enough attention. We were talking about that earlier, and
right,
once an hour every day, basically. And
exactly.
Our country's consumed with, not baking a cake for someone's wedding, or different flags being taken down, or all sorts of political agendas that when you look at the fact that these veterans went overseas, came back probably with PTSD, maybe they were waiting for treatment at the VA in their city. Maybe they had to wait too long and they couldn't take it, understandably. That's why you need. That's why these protests. If you have to start somewhere, and you're doing this in Phoenix, maybe a few other cities it'll catch on, and maybe these protests, it can be like the Planned Parenthood protests, where they're simultaneous and they have a greater effect.
Right, exactly. And like I said, there's some things that we need to be aware of. And it was like I think it was like somewhere in. I think it was May of this year, we had a veteran commit suicide. I think his name was, Thomas Murphy, took his own life in front of the VA facility, and it never really got publicized. And what the VA try to do is when these veterans commit suicide, they don't want to publicize this information. And I think it should be publicized and let the community know, and to let our top leaders know that this is what's happening across the nation in every city. We're losing too many veterans, that have served this nation to things that could be prevented. They're just not receiving the proper health care and attention that they need once they return from, the war, especially the ones who have actually went to foreign countries and fought for this country. Those are the most important people that we need to put, to the forefront first off, and make sure that they get their appointments correctly, that they're on time, that those appointments will never be delayed. I don't care if they go to the VA or to a non-VA doctor. I've been into a few of these appointments, and it's ridiculous of how these veterans, are treated. Just like last week, one veteran was arrested because he was not getting the care he wanted. He was a PTSD patient. He's at the Phoenix VA hospital. So they arrested him because he went to the police and said, "Arrest me because you're not taking care of me anyway." So these are the things that do not make the news, and these are the things that the Phoenix VA do not wish for the news to report.
you come across these. You don't find these in the news. You find them on YouTube videos. When I was at the protest against McCain about a month and a half ago, for the veterans, specifically homeless veterans in downtown Phoenix,
correct.
Several veterans spoke, and afterwards, the guy that organized the protest, he stayed and live streamed for 2 days, all overnight. And, there was veterans on patrol down there. One guy had went to the VA and he was sick, and he had a panic attack in the ER waiting area or some waiting area. And the nurse threw him out on the street. Did you hear about that one?
No, I didn't hear about that one. I just know that I heard about the issues in the waiting room. I just didn't know it was that particular issue there.
Yeah, it's.
So,
do you know that group? Are you? Sorry, Ricky. Are you familiar with Veterans on Patrol? Do you know Lewis and any of those guys?
No, I'm not familiar with them, but of course, this week or next week, I will become familiar with them. Because I believe they need to be a part of my process, and I need to be a part of their process.
Good idea.
So I will become familiar with them.
Excellent.
And I've heard of the group, but I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, I'm not real familiar with them either, but I know what they're doing, and I've met a couple of them when I was downtown at the McCain thing, and I know that they're protecting veterans that are helpless. I don't know if they get a payment at the beginning of the month, but they were getting kicked in the stomach and beaten and having their money taken by thugs.
Right.
So the Oath Keepers ended up down there. And
they probably do get a payment check at the beginning of each month. That's probably when they get that, and that's probably when those people who are attacking those veterans know when they're getting their payment. They know that there's payment, they're due their payment at the beginning of the month. So if they're homeless veterans, this is why they know to attack them at that time, and to probably they're there to take their money. And this is why we need to design a better system to make sure that there's not one homeless vet on the street. There should not be one. And while our leaders, our politician leaders, have not taken care of that issue till this day, it's astonishing that you can't get me to believe that they have not done anything.
No, they're preoccupied with taking in Syrian, not Christians, Syrian Muslims of fighting age, refugees, and they're preoccupied with refugees and putting illegal aliens in different cities when they don't have a place to go. The veterans, they kind of get pushed to the side, and if that doesn't stop soon, it's just a sign of just America failing. We're a great nation, but that is a glowing example of failure and breakdown of our culture.
And that's my perfect example of establishing the GoFund account. And, of course, I do want the GoFundMe account. I do want, our citizens to donate to that. But, of course, I'm going after, like I said, big corporations, because I don't just want this to be a one-time thing. I want this to be an ongoing thing. And I've put my GoFund account up there for $375,000, and that's just the start. I just want to prove to the nation that I can do more with $375,000 in one city that the government can do, or the whole VA system can do, with $164 billion that is allocated to them every year. And let me rephrase that number to you: $164 billion that are going into the VA system every year that is not being allocated properly to make sure our veterans are receiving the best care possible. And I guarantee you I can do more with $365,000 here locally in Phoenix, Arizona, or the state of Arizona, for our veterans at the VA facility.
I bet you could.
What's going on right now.
I bet you could. So where is the GoFundMe at?
And not that I could, I will, because I've already have people in place. Of course, the money goes toward to pay for counseling, to hire those people for counseling, to hire those people, for drivers, to hire those people for spokespersons, and that money is going to allocate those people to be, available to those veterans, throughout that daytime, so they can call us at any time. Do you need a ride? We're going to have a vehicle that we can go pick someone up right away. They just don't, that at the beck and call.
Right. In some cases, even someone to talk to. If they're not getting, they need someone to talk to. If they're not getting the treatment at the VA for, PTSD, they may need someone to talk to. They can't sit all day, and that's amazing.
Yeah, and I personally took money out of my own personal fund, and of course my wife is going through the process now of she's getting her education. She's already have a master's degree in education. Now she's getting a master's degree in professional counseling. And I set this up, a couple of years ago, for her to do this. So I knew this is what I wanted to do. So this is nothing that just came up. This is something that I knew I wanted to do. I want to go out there and help veterans and, make sure that we all get on the right track. So you're right. There is most of the time these veterans just need someone to talk to. They just want a listening ear, and we don't have a process for that. And the patient advocacy office is not a process for them to be a listening ear. The patient advocacy should be an office to make changes and help veterans.
Right.
So that's what we don't have into the VA system, is a listening ear. Your PTSD counselors are not listening ear, because all they do is get those veterans in there, prescribe them medication, over-medicate them. And now you have a veteran who's a walking zombie. So if he doesn't take his medication, he or she doesn't take his medication, then now you have a person who can go off at any given time, and this is why you have so many suicides per day, because they done changed their medication. They're not getting the medication they need. So these are the things I would like to change, is to try to take some of these veterans off of so much medication to give them something positive in their life, while we're not putting them in school, while we're not finding programs for them to be positive in, while we're not finding creative jobs for these veterans who, that not giving them a trade school training. We should give those to the veterans, and veterans have to fight so hard for that. And I know this because I've been through this process.
Yeah, you have the experience.
It's very difficult.
You got the experience.
So it's experience for me. So it's very difficult, and once again, I have these recordings to justify why the system is failing at the regional office and at the VA Medical Center position. I've been requesting, because of my injured legs, my injured back, I've been requesting a massage chair from the VA facility. It has been over 7 years since going through an appeals process and things like that, and no veteran should have to ever be in a position where they have to fight for items that they need for a daily living.
Yeah. We're coming to
another thing that I want to say.
Sorry, Ricky. We're coming to a close here on the time. It's going to cut me off because that's all I can afford is a short broadcast.
No problem. Next time, call me. I'll get you.
Mention where your GoFundMe is, your Twitter handle, and your Facebook real quick.
Yeah, my GoFundMe is, of course, you can go on GoFundMe and go under EvincibleVets. And, of course, you can spell EvincibleVets the way it's with an EvincibleVets. That's EvincibleVets under helping AZ veterans. My Twitter account, of course, is under EvincibleVets. And, of course, my Facebook account is under EvincibleVets. And if anyone wants to ever contact me for any type of information, or to give me information, or to join the group, by all means do so. That's what we're here at EvincibleVets. It's not mine. It's for every veteran or anyone who wants to participate. And I want this to make this a large group that is going to become national one day, and hopefully they can see that this is a great thing that I've created for the veterans, and hopefully one of these leaders hear this and understand that this is what veterans need.
Yep.
Not what they want, this is what they need.
Well, I'm with you, buddy. Thank you, Ricky. And we'll see you next time. And if you're listening live, tune in to K98 Talk at 7 Eastern. That's 4 o'clock Arizona time. Tune in. Ricky's going to be on America Off the Rails with Rowdy Rick Robinson. K98talk.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you very much.